Hey everybody, so I know I'm doing one of these on the weekend, kind of last minute. I had some people with some questions about creating a mobile interface, just some basic things, some of my students in my class, and I just wanted to go through the basics of creating a mobile interface, some of the things you consider, some of the settings that you would want to go through as you were doing this using Adobe Photoshop. So, welcome. It's the weekend. It's Saturday. I spent the morning with the kids. We went to the pool. I'm going to take them for a little hike later. And I've done some yard work so far, but it's Saturday afternoon. Let's get started. Let me talk a little bit about creating a mobile interface in Adobe Photoshop. Okay. So, let's just make sure we're all set up here. Perfect. Okay. Boom. Let's do that. Just make sure if anyone does come on. I didn't announce this, so I don't expect people to really come on, more or less see it later, but you never know. Sometimes people pop on and they're going to want to see it. Okay. Let's see. So creating a mobile interface. So I'm going to go through kind of what I expected of my students for my assignment, and as others of you who are watching this can kind of see what I'm doing, and I want to talk through some of the good and bad things about a mobile interface. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, New. Let me slide this over to the correct screen so y'all can see it. Now for my assignment, I had my students use inches. I could use pixels to create a mobile interface. I could use inches. I could use whatever I would like to. It doesn't matter. But for this, because it's an assignment that I gave my students, I'm going to create it exactly the same. So I asked them to create a 2x4 mobile interface, which is really just a arbitrary generic number. There is no, depending on what device I was really creating something on, I would get a little more specific, especially if I was creating some kind of responsive interface. But for the example, and one of the reasons you create a mobile interface like this using Photoshop is for your portfolio. It's a great way to add some mobile interface designs to PowerPoint. Okay, so that you can show a client. Okay, so let me see. So I've got 2x4 inches width, height, so 2x4. I'll just keep my resolution at 300. It doesn't matter. That's fine. I've got RGB color. It's going to be on the web. That's perfect. Background, sure, we can keep it white. And we are going to click Create. Is it creating? Jeez, Photoshop, you're taking a while today. Something's been going on with my computer. It's reset itself twice today. So actually, if this stream goes off, just recognize that something's been acting a little weird. Yesterday and today, I think I had to restart my computer 3 or 4 times, and I've already had to do it once today where it just completely froze. Today I actually got blue screen of death, and it's not uncommon. I think it's just software causing some glitches. Okay, so we've got our interface up, 2x4, and what I need to ask myself is, what do I want to create? So remember, I'm creating a mobile interface right now. I'm not creating this for the computer. I'm creating it for a mobile device. So, when we look at our mobile devices, we think what is the difference between this and a standard web page? So picture yourself going to any web page that you use and then viewing the mobile version. What are the differences? The differences are, on a standard web page, we can have multiple columns. On a mobile web page, one column. Usually we don't have any columns, just the one. We could have multiple rows, but we have one column. Other big thing is when we start to consider Fitts law. Fitts law basically says, if I want to press a button, it needs to be big enough that my finger, we're not using the mouse anymore, my finger isn't going to press the wrong thing. How many mobile websites have you been to where you went to push a button and you couldn't? You hit the wrong thing because your finger's big. So when we're creating buttons for a mobile site, big buttons. Good looks isn't as important for a mobile website that's content driven as functionality, ease of use for the user. It's almost like those two things in a mobile environment are very difficult to do well with. So basically creating a nice, clean interface is better than worrying about, well, is this the best looking one? The best looking one is that web version, right? For web, I'm limited by the size of my fingers, how many links I'm going to have and stuff like that. Okay, so let me just create a couple things on the screen here. So for example, I'm going to add a new layer. I might You know, I might add like a header and then some buttons, and then I would have my content. So let's just use an example. Let's say for my header, we have this nice ugly blue color. Um, my body might be all, let's say, we're going to keep the body white, and then we'll have a footer, which is black. Let's just click the little black color there. All right, so we've got blue, header, body, where we'll put our links, and a footer. Okay, so for our header, I'm going to add some text. And let's see. There we go. Let's call this my site. I got to check the size of the text, 16 point. Okay, perfect. My sample site. Oops. Okay, there we go. All right, so we call it my site. Then this is where we could put our content. We could put our links. Remember, if I'm creating a mobile site, I might want to have some pretty big links. So my links might be like these huge. Let me create a new layer here, actually. And I'll create a couple different color links. Oh, actually, let's see. Let me add links right here. I'll create 3 different links. And let me show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to make my links. Let's see, I need to get my paint bucket tool. Okay, so for my links, and notice I'm going to cut this up, so this is fine. I'm going to actually, there we go, add 1 right here, and I'll make this one a different color. That way it's like we have 1, 2, 3 links. I made them nice and big, and then I can add my text for each one. You know, this one would be like link 1. Link 2, which I thought I picked white, but we're gonna keep it black. There we go. Link 2, and I'm purposely not aligning stuff just because I'm not trying not to spend time doing it. Link 3. And there we go. We would have our 3 links, and then I would put my content right here, and this would be like my footer. And for content, I'm just going to pull up any image that I have, the first one that I see. I've been using some of these to edit. Let's pick up the Smashing Pumpkin. Oh, hey, that's the name of a band. Okay, so to put this into my mobile version, I'm going to go to Select All. I'm going to copy it, edit, copy. I'm going to go to my mobile site, and I'm just going to simply paste it. When I paste it, now it pasted the correct size, but if it didn't, I can go to Edit, Transform, and I usually go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I can change the size of it. And we've changed the size, and then I can add my footer here with any content that I'd like to. But you can see how quickly I'm just starting to put this together. Now, obviously, I'd have a theme and a good header, and this is not very pretty whatsoever. It's actually very ugly. I don't like it whatsoever. But the point was to show you just the functionality and talk a little bit about mobile design. So we have one column. We have a bunch of rows. Each of my links is a row so that it's very easy to press. There's no mistakes. I have my header, my images, content, and then, you know, I could put like links. I could put 2 big buttons here at the bottom if I would like to. Let's do that. Let's create a new layer. Let's add some buttons. This would be, okay, perfect. They'll be white. Let's see. Let's add another button. Oops, we don't want that. Just messed up that text. Let's delete that layer. You know, this could be back. And this could be next, assuming there was like a next and back. You know, that's a little more of a tutorial than a web page, but you get the idea of how you could do this. And then obviously, what did you do at this point? So you've created like your generic interface, but now you need to take this into the web and either need to use, I'm a big fan of using CSS, so I probably would take these images and put them into my website and use CSS where needed. So I would take my slice tool, and I would slice this up. I would slice up this whole image. You know, one. Not slicing this perfect. And we could keep that like that. Or I could add in the buttons. I'd probably make those buttons separate if I was going to use CSS. And then I would simply save this and have each one of these be a separate image that I could pop into Dreamweaver or whatever I was using. If I was using Notepad to create a mobile website, pop it right into my code, and I would have all the images ready to go. And that's it. That's the basics of creating a mobile interface. Just the bare bones. I just wanted to go through this to answer the question, to show how I'm actually able to do this. Some of my students were having some, I guess, some resolution issues where they weren't able to type, I guess, or something always appeared pixelated. So I just wanted to show how you would do this if you were creating it. So I hope that answered your question. I hope you got to see my settings and see some of the basics. And everyone else, I hope you just learned something from this basic real quick. You know, this was a quick, super quick 10-minute video. So anyway, coming to you live on a Saturday. Hope you're all doing well. Have a good weekend. Later all.